with another Naturally Obsessed look into basketball. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the video. And as I always like to preface by saying, I am not a basketball expert, just a fan who's naturally obsessed. So now that the whole Deandre Ayton situation is beginning to settle, we know that he's at the very least going to start the regular season with the Phoenix Suns. In my personal opinion, I don't know this for a fact, I'm just sharing my opinion based off of other circumstances that I believe are going to work themselves out. I believe Deandre Ayton is going to be with the Phoenix Suns for at the very least the entire duration of next season, and they will readdress the Deandre Ayton situation next offseason. But I don't know that for a fact. And the reason why I think that is what's going to happen is because the other situation that I continue to discuss on this channel, I've discussed it from the very beginning. I looked it up the very first time I made mention of Kevin Durant being linked to the Phoenix Suns was May 12th. So I've been on this longer than just about anyone. The only other person that I know that was pinpointing, Flex didn't even mention the guy by name. And I don't say that to discredit Flex in any way. You guys know we love Flex right here. I credit Flex with everything. I quote Flex all the time. But the thing about Flex is, even though he didn't mention Kevin Durant by name, we knew who he was talking about. Flex was kind of taking that, like, hey, I don't want to say this directly. And me, I get why he did that. That's the smart thing to do. Me, though, being so new to this whole thing, I got some info and I'm just like, oh my God, like, oh, okay. And I came on and said, Kevin, could I go back and do it? I probably would have done it a little bit differently. But at the same time, now I'm kind of like that. It's worked out a little bit. I like how I did it. I wouldn't go back and change that. Just now going forward, if I get some other info, I might do it a little bit differently. But be that as it may, the point I'm trying to make is I've been talking about Kevin Durant longer than just about any other person that I personally know. And it's all worked out so far as I've anticipated, as I've explained it. The only thing that has not happened that I've been saying is going to happen is Kevin Durant actually ending up on the Phoenix Suns. So why do I still think that? Guys, I sound like a broken record all the time. If you've been around the channel for a while, you're about to hear me say this for probably the 100th time, and I apologize. I just hope you understand the reason why I continue to repeat things over and over again is, guys, we're a growing channel. In the last month, we've almost doubled in subscribers, and we continue to grow. And there are people who are watching these videos for the very first time that probably hear me talk about Kevin Durant, and they roll their eyes and they're just like, oh, yeah, okay, like, not gonna happen, blah, blah, when they have not listened or watched past videos I've made explaining the situation in detail. So I'm not gonna go through all that again. If you guys wanna hear more about the Kevin Durant situation, go and watch past videos I've made on Kevin Durant. There's plenty of detail throughout all of them. I just wanna clarify one thing. Guys, I know that the Suns don't have as lucrative of a package on paper to offer the Brooklyn Nets for Kevin Durant as a lot of other teams. I do know all of that. But as I continue to say, player-driven league, top 3 definitive player in the NBA, the player gets what he wants. Kevin Durant, whether you like it or not, holds a substantial amount of power and leverage in this situation. And the Nets, I'm not trying to say the Nets don't hold any. The Nets do hold leverage in this situation. But get the whole, oh, he has 4 years left on his contract. Get that out of here. Like, that means little to nothing in this situation. The most significant amount of leverage that the Brooklyn Nets have in this situation is dictating how long this entire situation plays out. I don't believe them whatsoever based off of conversations that I've had and just using my plain common sense as an NBA fan watching how these situations have played out in the past. And if you're watching this, you've probably been an NBA fan as long as I have, maybe a little longer than I have. But I've been a fan long enough and have seen enough of these situations work themselves out to where I can say with 100% confidence that I do not believe when the Brooklyn Nets say, oh, we might bring them back for next season. I don't believe that at all. To me, that's them trying to pull more leverage out. They're trying to create more leverage so that they can try to get these teams to offer more than what is currently being offered. Because as Flex said in his most recent show, and I'm going to have that link to Flex's newest Coast to Coast podcast in the comment section down below if you're curious to listen to that. But the analogy he used, you can kick that can down the road for as long as you want, but eventually you're going to run out of road and you're going to have to pick that thing up and deal with it. You know, it's just a fact. The fact is Kevin Durant wants to be a Phoenix Sun. And for anyone who doubts that, I just want to say this. Guys, keep that same energy. I don't care if you don't believe me or not. Like, we'll know. We'll know how this situation works itself out. And the thing about it, I want you to think about this for a second. Why the hell am I going to put so much of my time and energy into making these videos over and over again saying Kevin Durant's going to be a Phoenix Sun, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, just to be wrong? And I'm not saying it's impossible for me to be wrong by any means. The point I'm trying to make is if I didn't truly believe with 100% of everything in me that this is what's going to happen, why would I put this much time and energy just for all of you haters, all you trolls, to get in my comment section and blast me? It makes zero sense. Zero sense. So what I'm asking, if I'm wrong, guys, and I'm telling you, I'm not, but if I'm wrong, I promise I can take it. I can take the heat. I'm always the first one to admit I'm wrong. What I do is I'd hop right on here and be like, wow, guys, like, that came out of nowhere. My bad. Like, try to find out why. But I'd own it, and I'd let that comment section light the hell up with everyone laughing at me. But what I'm asking you guys, keep that same energy. Keep that exact same energy, because when I'm right, you bet your ass I'm going to take my victory lap with every single one of you watching that have believed me since day one. And trust me, as much as I'm keeping those receipts for the doubters, I'm keeping those receipts for the believers. Believe that. And we're going to take that victory lap together. But for you doubters, keep that same energy. I expect nothing less from you guys if and when you're wrong than I'm wrong. 100%. And that's out of the way. Again, guys, I know on paper there are plenty of teams that can offer the Brooklyn Nets a better package for Kevin Durant. But at the end of the day, a lot of people want to point to, oh, it hasn't been done yet because it's called a negotiation, this and that. At this point in time, guys, with how bad everything internally in the Brooklyn Nets organization appears to be, they would have done it already if Kevin Durant was okay with it. I don't see how you can look at it any other way. And this isn't going to make sense to a lot of people who don't follow certain things closely. I typically don't follow numbers very closely because that's above my personal pay grade, but I'm trying to get a better understanding of salary cap structures throughout this whole situation, because the one thing that a lot of people want to point, it's a total cop-out move, so I'm going to put that out there right now, but they want to use the past history of the Phoenix Suns against them in this situation, because the reality of this situation is this. For the Phoenix Suns to get Kevin Durant, they would go into luxury tax hell, and everyone wants to pinpoint, oh, I hear Robert Sarver's cheap, oh, you're never going to get that done. Along with me saying Kevin Durant was going to be a Phoenix Sun all the way back in May, I even said, guys, this is not your same Phoenix Suns team. They are willing to go into the luxury tax if they feel that it brings them a championship. with Kevin Durant, they would go somewhere in the 60 to 70 million dollar luxury tax, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I have it in good faith that the Phoenix Suns are willing to spend upwards of 80 to 90 million dollars in luxury tax if they need to. So, guys, I get that we judge a lot of things on the past. I get that there's reason to doubt because of the past. But hold all effing judgments until this situation is played out. I believe that the Phoenix Suns are going to show you they definitely have changed. Like, this is not the team from the past anymore. And they're already in the luxury tax because of this whole Deandre Ayton situation. So they're starting to get committed. Granted, it's about $15 million in the luxury tax as opposed to 80 to 90 million. Huge difference, but things are already a little bit different than the Phoenix Suns of the past because moves would have happened. They probably would have settled for that lackluster sign and trade from the Indiana Pacers. There are already signs that point to this is a completely different Phoenix Suns team. But some of you want to see that huge, big splash before you finally say, like, okay, I guess, understand. I have no desire to change your mind. Let's just see the situation play out. And the last part of this video is, now that Deandre Ayton is back, what now? Like, if I'm so sure that this Kevin Durant situation is still going to work itself out, what is there to trade? How are you going to compete with this? Well, I've been on this for a little while now, but again, Flex put it perfectly in his new Coast to Coast podcast yesterday. There's a player that the Nets do covet who fits the description of what they would like in return for Kevin Durant. A high-end all-star. We already know who that is. The Nets are very interested in Donovan Mitchell, but that doesn't mean they're going to get him. According to all reports, the Knicks and the Heat are very interested as well and are expected to heavily pursue Donovan Mitchell. I anticipate that situation to try to work itself out first. According to numerous reports, I haven't personally heard this from anyone I trust or anything like that, but there are reports that the Knicks turned down the request from the Jazz in a return for Donovan Mitchell. So, if that's true, that's very puzzling to me because I personally thought it was probably a good deal, maybe one too many first-round picks, but, I mean, that Rudy Gobert situation really messed things up. But what I'm trying to say is if we get closer to training camp and Donovan Mitchell has not yet been moved, I anticipate 3-team trade talks to really pick up because the fact is, the Nets right now covet Donovan Mitchell. The Jazz, because of Danny Ainge, covet draft picks. What don't the Brooklyn Nets have right now? Draft picks. Guess who does have draft picks? And all of them. All of their own. The Phoenix Suns. I think it's very possible that a 3-team trade gets done where the majority of that draft compensation gets sent to Utah. And the one thing I will say, from a financial standpoint, keeping DeAndre Ayton makes a Kevin Durant deal easier. Just from a financial scenario. I'm not talking about for assets or anything like that. Like, that got a little more complicated. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It got a little more complicated, but the most complicated thing, I think, for the Phoenix Suns at this point in time is, I've been saying all along, and I still have it on good faith, at the time of this video, the Phoenix Suns are trying like hell to keep Mikal Bridges. But with the DeAndre Ayton on the roster, I think it makes it just a little bit harder to keep a Mikal Bridges. A little bit harder, and I think it's looking slightly more likely. And this right here, guys, again, I have not heard this exact thing that I'm about to say right now from anyone that I trust. This is just my opinion, scoping out the landscape. I think it makes it a tad bit less likely that you're to keep one of Mikal Bridges or Cam Johnson. I think it's looking a little more likely that you're going to have to send out both of them in whatever deal is made to bring a Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns. And guys, I think Flex was onto something in yesterday's show, because I was saying it a couple weeks ago that expiring contracts could be a key to getting this deal across the finish line if you have some of your higher end assets involved. So let's just say, for argument's sake, you do decide to include both a Mikal Bridges and a Cam Johnson. You include all the draft picks you possibly can, and you include a Jay Crowder, a Dario Saric, a Cam Payne, a Landry Shamet. Not all four together. I'm just saying, like, offer those, see if any interest comes about in those four names. I think we're going to come to a point in time where the Nets can't fight what Kevin Durant wants anymore, and we're going to get a deal done. And especially if a Donovan Mitchell is still on the table. If Donovan Mitchell is moved to either the Knicks or the Heat, I still see this needing to happen in a 3-team deal. And as of right now, I don't know what team would possibly want to get involved, but something would happen. Something would happen. And at this point in time, guys, like, just enjoy. Let me rephrase that, because none of you are enjoying this wait. Just try to trust the process and just go along for the ride. Just roll with the punches. This is not going as fast as any of us would like, but trust me, guys, the Phoenix Suns are not going to be this still if they did not believe wholeheartedly that they had a better than great chance to land a Kevin Durant. Because make no mistake about it, I know this was a 64-win basketball team, but there are holes that need to be fixed on this roster. James Jones knows that. So trust and believe when I say, if they did not believe they had a better than great chance to get Kevin Durant, they would not be this quiet in free agency. But let me know what you guys think about the whole situation. I already know some of you are going to disagree with everything I said and light me up in the comments. I really don't give a rat's ass. Like I said, keep that same energy. But for those of you who this has piqued your interest, or you've been a believer from day one, just let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, guys.